Smiling Friends. Is there a show more synonymous with creativity? Seriously, we're nearly at the end of season 2 and already the show is brimming with creative art direction. While you'd argue its main characters are rather flat and not far off from many other Adult Swim shows, at least in their design, they still stand out from one another, and if you were to silhouette them, each and every character has their own defining look that serves its purpose perfectly. But that's not the focus of today's video. Much of the charm of Smiling Friends actually comes from the insanity outside the world of these simply designed characters.
Pim, the world we live in stresses me out, dude.
Really? Why?
Just like never-ending, constant chaos. No, it never lets up. I hate it. It's not good.
Okay. I mean, you didn't like when the man came out of the egg, though? That was kind of nice.
While the premise of the show is that of its two main duo, Charlie and Pim, having to make people smile, it is ultimately so much more than just that. This series takes glee in going down all the most bizarre routes to tell compellingly hilarious stories within a brisk 10-minute episode, always taking the scenic route in preference over the obvious, easy route. It's clear that the chaotic creativity in the series stems from Michael and Zach's time on YouTube and Newgrounds, where they were always changing, collaborating, and striving for something hilariously unique.
You know, I think some artists romanticize, like, I did everything myself. Okay, don't brag about that. Who cares? Like, hey, if you want to do it, that's fine, but I don't think that should be... Being purist in that way is weird to me. Like, there's no shame in hiring the people. In fact, I think it helps you grow as a person.
Never once truly settling in on one bit or trend, forever looking for the next funny thing to animate. In fact, in numerous interviews, the duo have gone as far as saying they've never truly made a video because they wanted them to be monetized. It simply came down to them having a need to create hilarious animations. And that very clearly shines through in even Smiling Friends. And even if it isn't laugh-out-loud hilarious every single moment, Smiling Friends is an incredibly special show. And its recent popularity is honest-to-God well-deserved. Why, you might ask? Because at the end of the day, Smiling Friends is a celebration of independent artists.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below about what your favorite animation is in Smiling Friends. It's a small act of kindness, but it means everything to Mr. Boone. With that out of the way, let's get back to the video.
At a quick glance, your aunt or uncle who think everything on Adult Swim is Rick and Morty might assume that Smiling Friends is just that. They might see it as just some random mess of crazy characters and scenarios, void of any creative animation. Just an average Adult Swim show scraping by with a small budget, just trying its hardest to become the next Family Guy. While if I'm being completely honest, that's admittedly reductive of even Rick and Morty, Smiling Friends goes above and beyond to experiment with visuals whenever given the chance. If you look at the entirety of the episodes that have actually currently aired, the majority use different styles of animation, where a show like Rick and Morty might focus on absurd and crazy plots, with an emphasis on the concepts of tropes of sci-fi, Smiling Friends is simply driven by a need to animate whatever Zach and Michael feel would be absolutely hilarious or visually awesome that day. And while there were definitely some regular animators on the team of Smiling Friends, one of which being Oni Play's own Chris O'Neill, from what I can find online, who produced several animations and effects, including the entire 3D sculpt of the Devil and many other demons in hell during the finale of Season 1. However, he didn't only contribute with visuals, but also perhaps the most important part of Smiling Friends' identity, its chaotically upbeat end credit song, Brown Smile, which, if I'm being completely honest, could you imagine Smiling Friends with any other theme than this?
Hell is actually real, and Christianity was right all along. Sorry.
Oh.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Chris definitely knew exactly what the assignment was when he was signing on to create a theme for a show Zach was behind.
Can we talk about Willem Dafoe's penis?
However, I just want to add, me not including him with the other artists in this video isn't to undermine the work he did. He's just exactly what you'd expect from a show that was co-directed by Zach Hadel, a regular of Oni Plays, as they infamously attempted multiple times to get their animation series Leon Satan off the ground, along with the ill-fated Hellbenders project project that was tragically turned down by Adult Swim. Oof, that's gotta hurt. So with that incredibly depressing elephant in the room addressed, that if I'm being perfectly honest, is deserving of its own video separate from this one, as the story behind both shows is honestly so disheartening, it's incredible that they had their runaway success story with Smiling Friends. But yeah, that's a topic for another time, which if you'd like I can cover. Joel Haver and Harry Partridge have been absolutely pivotal to the surreal and absurd nature of Smiling Friends. Each of their inclusions showcase their bizarre styles and eye-catching moments that would be far different had they been animated by someone in-house. Take Mip, for example, an obvious riff on the Rankin Bass Hobbit films Bilbo Baggins. Mip's animation is visually distinct from just about everything else in the show from the moment he makes his entrance. Much like the classic Hobbit film, his facial animations are notably smoother, and the gestures he makes with his hands have more articulation than even Mr. Boss, which is saying something because that guy's fingers are always going all over the place. Oh boy.
I really hurt my finger doing that paperclip bit.
Yeah, no, I saw.
Much of the comedy that actually comes from Mip probably wouldn't have hit as hard if it weren't for Harry Partridge's subverting of Bilbo's character to fit the Smiling Friends universe. I mean, I don't think they could have picked a better animator than Harry Partridge, as he was a perfect fit for this, known on his YouTube channel for independently producing smoothly animated bangers like Watchmen the cartoon, and who could forget Dr. Bees? Who knows? Maybe with the spotlight now on Harry Partridge again, my favorite animated series Star Barbarians will be funded for more episodes. And then there's Joel Haver. In addition to Harry Partridge, Joel Haver's Doug perfectly sums up what a viewer could expect when watching any episode of Smiling Friends. Just when you think you know the direction an episode is going visually, it takes an absolutely crazy turn. While Joel Haver's animation style might be unliked by some, as much of it is mostly rotoscoped with minor animations added in the program, it's hard to argue that the end result isn't genuinely hilarious. What's impressive to me, actually, is that Michael and Zach didn't demand Joel clean up his style for the episode. They allowed him to showcase his visually messy characters as if they were just produced for a YouTube video. It's simply undeniable that Smiling Friends, similar to the show Ballmasters, though visually very different, place heavy emphasis on animation. Both shows, even at their weakest moments, which in my opinion are kind of few, are still held up by genuine charm in the details of their animations. If you're not laughing, you're likely in awe at the visuals Zach and Michael choose to showcase from various artists, just like how Ballmasters goes out of its way to pay absolute homage to classic 80s and 90s anime sakuga. Perhaps the best example of this in Smiling Friends, in my own opinion, is An Allen Adventure. It may not be the funniest episode, however, the animation is top-notch. From the helicopter chase, to the pirates, and the show-stopping animation of the ocean monster that was impressively rendered by animator Justin Noel, an artist who I hadn't actually seen before Smiling Friends, that Zach thankfully gave a shout-out to on his Instagram. He not only animated the fish monster, but also Mip's hilariously nightmarish death, and Charlie getting splatted in the finale. So you can tell that Zach and Michael really care about any gag in the show. Where another studio might have slapped something together that was incredibly simple and then call it a day, the two reach out to talented artists and give them a shot. I mean, if it wasn't for this approach to their animation, we might have missed out on perhaps one of the most visually trippy moments in all of Smiling Friends, which to me was the most impressive animation by Joel, which was seen in the recent episode where Charlie and Pim take black ooze injections and begin to trip out. While drug trip sequences are nothing new, I mean, heck, one of my favorites is when Homer eats that spiked chili in The Simpsons. This sequence distinctly changes the style in a way that shows off Joel's talents and echoes the styles of many Adult Swim bumpers. So at the end of the day, is Smiling Friends one of the funniest adult shows airing today? Well, to several others, and yes, but that might be debatable. However, what's hard to debate is that Smiling Friends embodies the philosophy of elevating and celebrating fellow contemporaries in the arts. Smiling Friends isn't just amazing for its individual moments and animations. It's amazing for the sum of its talented artists. Smiling Friends bucks the rules of regular television and grants YouTubers and newgrounders alike a shot at having their talents televised. And not just that, they're paid fully for it. and aren't doomed to the fate many of the anime industry are, that are subjected to crunch and very low pay.
50 people, there's like 10 people that really are just like the generals of the army. Why can't I say it like the generals, right? Because I'm not saying like, well, make this person work overtime. I'm saying pay that person, give that person some of my money. I don't fucking need it, but pay them a little bit extra and really value them is what I'm saying. Really value some people and say, you are clearly somebody, you're irreplaceable.